Atomic Habits, Part 4, The Third Law, Make It Easy, Chapter 11, Walk Slowly but Never Backward. On the first day of class, Jerry Osman, a professor at the University of Florida, divided his film photography students into two groups. Everyone on the left side of the classroom, he explained, would be on the quantity group. They would be graded solely on the amount of work they produced. On the final day of class, he would tally the number of photos submitted by each student. 100 photos would rate an A, 90 photos a B, 80 photos a C, and so on. Meanwhile, everyone on the right side of the room would be on a quality group. They would be graded only on the excellence of their work. They would only need to produce one photo during the semester, but to get an A, it had to be nearly perfect image. At the end of the term, he was surprised to find out all the best photos were produced on the quantity group. During the semester, these students were busy taking photos, experimenting with composition and lighting, testing out various methods in the darkroom, and learning from their mistakes. In the process of creating hundreds of photos, they honed their skills. Meanwhile, the quality group sat around speculating about perfection. In the end, they had little to show for their efforts other than unverified theories and a mediocre photo. Motion versus action. When you're in motion, you're planning and strategizing and learning. Those are all good things, but they don't produce a result. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behavior that will deliver an outcome. If I outline 20 ideas for articles I want to write, that's motion. If I actually sit down and write an article, that's action. Sometimes motion is useful, but it will never produce an outcome by itself. Worse, motion could cause procrastination. If motion does not lead to results, why do we do it? Sometimes we do it because we actually need a plan or to learn more, but more often than not, we do it because motion allows us to feel like we're making progress without running the risk of failure. Most of us are experts at avoiding criticism. It doesn't feel good to fail or to be judged publicly, so we tend to avoid situations where that might happen, and that's the biggest reason why you slip into motion rather than taking action. You want to delay failure. If you want to master a habit, the key is to start with repetition, not perfection. You don't need to map out every feature of a new habit. You just need to practice it. This is the first takeaway on the third law. You just need to get the reps in. Each time you repeat an action, you are activating a particular neural circuit associated with that habit. This means that simply putting in the reps is one of the most critical steps you can take to encoding a new habit. This is why students who took tons of photos improved their skills, while those who merely theorized about perfect photos did not. One group engaged in active practice, the other in passive learning. One in action, the other in motion. All habits follow a similar trajectory from effortful practice to automatic behavior, a process known as automaticity. Automaticity is the ability to perform a behavior without thinking about each step, which occurs when the non-conscious mind takes over. In the figure, in the beginning at point A, a habit requires a good deal of effort and concentration to perform. After a few repetitions, it gets to point B. It gets easier, but still requires some conscious attention. With enough practice at point C, the habit becomes more automatic than conscious. Beyond this threshold, the habit line, the behavior can be done more or less without thinking. A new habit has been formed. How long does it actually take to form a new habit? There's nothing magical about time passing with regard to habit formation. It doesn't matter if it's been 21 days or 3 days or 300 days. What matters is the rate at which you perform the behavior. You can do something twice in 3 days or 200 times. It's the frequency that makes the difference. In practice, it doesn't really matter how long it takes for a habit to become automatic. What matters is that you take actions that need to be taken to make progress. Whether the action is fully automatic is of less importance. Chapter summary: the third law of behavior changes make it easy. The most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. Focus on taking action, not being in motion. Habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The amount of time you have been performing a habit is not important as the number of times you have performed it. Chapter 12, Law of Least Effort. Crops and continents. Different continents have different shapes. In the Americas, it's a north-south orientation. Asia, Europe, an east-west orientation. Climate varies less in Asia, Europe. Crops spreads faster, producing more food and population larger. People naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work. For example, expanding the farm east-west, where one can grow the same crops rather than heading north-south, where the climate is different. The idea behind Make It Easy is not only to do things that are easy, but it is to do things which pay off in the long run. How to achieve more with less effort? Practice environment design. Habits are easy to build when they fit into your life flow. For example, you are more likely to go to the gym if it's on your way to work. Addition by subtraction. Look for every point of friction and eliminate it. Prime the environment for future use. Be proactively lazy. Reset the room such that when you walk into a room, everything is in its right place. Want to draw more? Put your pencils, crayons, and drawing tools on top of your desk within arm's reach. Inversion of path of least effort. The reverse is also true for law of least effort, subtraction by addition. Whenever possible, I leave my phone in a different room until lunch. When it's right next to me, I'll check it all morning for no reason at all. But when it's in another room, I rarely think about it, and the friction is high enough that I won't go get it without a reason. As a result, I get 3 to 4 hours each morning when I can work without interruption. If sticking your phone in another room does not seem enough, tell a friend or family member to hide it from you for a few hours. Chapter summary. Human behavior follows the law of least effort. We will naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work. Create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. Reduce the friction associated with good behaviors. When friction is low, habits are easy. Increase the friction associated with bad behaviors. When friction is high, habits are difficult. Prime your environment to make future actions easier. Atomic Habits, Chapter 13, The 2-Minute Rule. A highway of no turning back. Habits are like the entrance ramp to a highway, meaning that they lead you down a path, and before you know it, you're speeding towards the next behavior. It's shaped by our first choice. When you walk into McDonald's, it's a decisive moment, that in the sense that your menu choices are limited in the range of burgers and fries, not steak nor noodles. Habits are the entry point, not the end point. They're the cab, not a gym. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. If running a marathon is very hard, running a 5K is hard. Walking 1,000 steps is slightly hard. Walking for 10 minutes is easy. Putting on the running shoes is very easy. Your goal might be to run a marathon, but the gateway habit is put on the running shoes. 2 minutes and 2 minutes only. The habit of showing up. Habit must be established before it can be improved. If the 2-minute rule feels forced, try this. Do it for 2 minutes and then stop. Go for a run, but you must stop after 2 minutes. Start meditating, but you must stop after 2 minutes. It's not the strategy for starting, it's the whole thing. Your habit can only last 120 seconds. We rarely think about change this way because everyone is consumed by the end goal. But one push-up is better than not exercising. 1 minute of guitar practice is better than none at all. 1 minute of reading is better than never picking up a book. It's better to do less than you hoped than to do nothing at all. Ramping up from 2 minutes, become an early riser. Phase 1, be home by 10 p.m. every night. Phase 2, have all the devices turned off by 10 p.m. every night. Phase 3, be in bed by 10 p.m. every night. Phase 4, nights off by 10 p.m. every night. Phase 5, wake up at 6 a.m. every night. Chapter summary. Habits can be completed in a few seconds but continue to impact your behavior for minutes or hours afterwards. Many habits occur at decisive moments. Choices are like a fork in the road and either send you in the direction of a productive day or an unproductive one. The 2-minute rule states, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The more you ritualize the beginning of a process, the more likely it becomes that you can slip into the state of defocus that is required to do great things. Standardize before you optimize. You can't improve a habit that does not exist. Chapter 14. How to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. In the summer of 1830, Victor Hugo was facing an impossible deadline. 12 months earlier, the French author had promised his publisher a new book, but instead of writing, he spent that year pursuing other projects, entertaining guests, and delaying his work. Frustrated, Hugo's publisher responded by setting a deadline less than 6 months away. The book had to be finished by February 1831. Hugo concocted a strange plan to beat his procrastination. He collected all of his clothes and asked an assistant to lock them away in a large chest. He was left with nothing to wear except a large shawl. Lacking any suitable clothing to go outdoors, he remained in his study and wrote furiously during the fall and winter of 1830. The Hunchback of Notre Dame was published 2 weeks early on January 14, 1831. Commitment device. Sometimes success is less about making good habits easy and more about making bad habits hard. It is the same version of the third law of behavior change, make it difficult. Commitment devices increase the odds that you will do the right thing in the future by making bad habits difficult in the present. Taking commitment device further, make bad habit impossible. One-time actions that lock in good habits. Nutrition. Buy a water filter to clean your drinking water. Use smaller plates to reduce calorie intake. Sleep. Buy a good mattress. Get blackout curtains. Remove your television from your bedroom. Make technology a friend, not a foe. Do's. Use of automation. Medicine. Prescriptions can be automatically reviewed. Cooking. Meal delivery services can do your grocery shopping. Don'ts. Binge on Netflix, YouTube using autoplay. Chapter summary. The inversion of the third law of behavior changes make it difficult. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that locks in better behavior in the future. The ultimate way to lock in future behavior is to automate your habits. One-time choices, like buying a better mattress or enrolling in an automatic savings plan, are single actions that automate your future habits and deliver increasing returns over time. Using technology to automate your habits is the most reliable and effective way to guarantee the right behavior.